Does anybody do senior services for the entire county? Programs for the entire county?
Six counties.
And, and how many people do specific services for my area, for Murphy's? For
I
up
have a
there?
couple clients in
Okay.
all areas. Yeah, I take from any area.
Okay, the reason why I asked is because we've just gone through some changes after COVID where I reinstituted our lunch program finally with Area 12 and with the hospital. So I'm really looking for speakers every month. So I hope to get some of you, if not all of you, to come up and do just a 10 or 15-minute spiel. We usually get about 30 people at lunch. We try to keep it at 30 because it's not a large room. But we'll talk afterwards and see if I can hook you guys in. So anyway, I'm Steve Shetzline. I've been up here for a number of years working in various nonprofits. Very blessed to be at the Murphy Senior Center. I've been there now for 14 years. 14 years, yes. So my kids are out of high school. Yeah, and it's been probably the best thing I've actually done. They started, which a lot of our successful programs have gotten, which is a lot of community support. So like a lot of the community-based programs, there was a lot of community support that started it, but left as soon as it began. So we've been through constant struggles for funding, like you all know about, especially the recession when we started in 2009. And then, of course, COVID was big drag. Never thought I'd say that I'd have to close a business, but we were closed for a good 18 months, like you guys know. And I can honestly say that I'm really happy with what's going on right now. I didn't say that last year. Last year I would have said we're open and it's going fine, but people still weren't coming out. We weren't getting people out. Still, I'd say there's probably a good 15 to 20% that are staying in, but we're up to full capacity. I couldn't be happier. Like I just alluded to, if we get more than 30 people for anything, we're at capacity. So our Wednesday class last week, our strength training class, we had about 30 people in it, and that's the extent of it. So we couldn't be happier. So we're up to full strength. So as far as a social, cultural perspective, people are out now. It's cool. Not 100%, but very close. So anyway, we started about 13 to 14 years ago. It actually started cool, since you guys do this for a living, a cool kind of thing took place where, like many of you may have seen, one of the local churches had their membership drastically decreasing, and they were looking for innovative ways to increase outreach. So they put together a community group and said, how can we do this? What do you think that the community needs from us? So they broke it down to a teen center or a senior center. So I don't know why, but the senior center won. So they went with that, and through the church, it's actually a religious-based organization, gave us seed funding of $150,000, where they bought the building and installed it and started and hired somebody to Margot Moan, if any of you guys know her, who's been doing senior programs for years. She actually started the process of the senior center, and then I came on right at the beginning. And what we did in the beginning was a lot of fundraising, and we still struggle. And again, since you guys do this for a living, there's an interesting kind of dichotomy that I always think about in what we should really expect from our participants. So we always talk about, should people be paying a membership fee, or what should their buy-in be? And as I've done this for, how old am I? Almost 30 years, that it seems like our expectations of our clients have gone down because their participation has gone down, and we expect a lot less because we're not really sure how much to ask of them. I remember like in the 90s, we were doing incentives, and incentives were like super cool. We would get the shirts and the pens and everything like that, but they only seemed to work for like 10 years. And now I'm not sure what works for you guys, but we chose not to do a membership fee because, in fact, I'm making a healthy deposit this morning at the bank. We let people donate when they can and as much as they can, and it's really been successful. We've done really well with that. But that's something we struggle with. You know, there have been some bad times, and again, the recession and COVID. So we struggle with that. So anyway, that's how it started. That's where our funding began, and we basically began with those typical old school kind of senior programs in 2009. The sewing programs, the knitting programs, we called it a Let's Chat group, current affairs group. Those things went well for a good 2 or 3 years, and then maybe it was the internet, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was how active older adults have gotten, maybe it's how long we're living. So whatever reason, those programs were not successful anymore, and we became kind of, which a lot of our members don't like to say, but we've kind of become like a fitness center. And I'm proud of that because I think that's going to lead to a healthy, active life and to social interaction and do a lot of things. So we still do some of the old school type of groups. That's not the main things that we do. So anyway, we started with a lot of those groups and have become really successful in doing these exercise groups. And in maybe 2013, started really thinking about all of us competing for, including the mentoring program, which I was a part of, and the senior centers, competing for this sponsorship dollar and fundraising and donor money in a small community where now, in this part of history, so many different community-based groups exist. I was reading this article about Kissinger's vision of the 50s and 60s, and one of the things that I came away with is that during that time, a lot of our programs did not exist. Like maybe 80%, and it's hard to think about. So all of our jobs really weren't around in the 50s and 60s. So that's something that really made an impression on me when I was reading this history article. So anyway, my point is that things have changed, and so have the funding mechanism. So I started thinking about this and why it has to be such a battle, and why the mentoring program has to recruit a foundation to run this probably the best fundraiser I've ever been a part of, which Marion was deeply involved in, if not completely involved in. The Calaveras Follies. Why does so much of our effort and time and volunteer time and community resources go to these programs to raise money? It doesn't takes us off our mission statement, but maybe not. But at the very least, it's using up a lot of our resources. So I started thinking about this, and I was doing this big band night, which I put a lot of effort in, and it was successful, but we had a couple bad years, and I'm like, why am I doing this? So anyway, long story short, started talking to some people. I got some seed money, so we started the thrift store. So we started the Murphy's thrift store, and everything's been fine since. It's gone really well, and when I went to school, to grad school, to work on this, one of my takeaways, and I don't have a good memory, so I don't remember a lot about grad school. I don't have many takeaways. But one of the things, and you can really pinpoint what local agencies do this, one of the takeaways was, how can you provide a service? How can you do something that people want, that will bring in resources, that'll bring in money? So that's where the thrift store, that's where the concept came from. And again, not knowing exactly what all your programs are, that's something that you may want to think about. Just got back from Italy a month or two ago, and one of the things there is all of the monasteries and all of the, what's the word for the where the nuns live?
Convent.
Well, all the convents, all of them provide a service. All of them make olive oil. All of them knit something, paint something, wine, whatever it is, and that's where this idea might have come from. So anyway, long story short, everything's been fine now. One of the keys to our success is that this community here, especially for what we have a large population of older adults that are not only active, but very, very healthy and very wanting to get involved in something, and may not have the greatest Social Security in the world because they didn't work their whole entire life. So there's a population that wants to work. So I can almost say, like, with a shadow of a doubt, like 0 employee problems in like almost 10 years because of that population. So again, speaking to people that do this for a living, that's a population that I think really needs to continually be tapped, not just as employees, but board members and volunteers. The trick is, right, who you're outreaching to and what those conversations sound like, and what your ask is, what you really need in identifying their skill set and what their buy-in is and what they really want to participate in. So anyway, from there, we continue to grow in our fitness activities and our lunch program through Area 12, and then the hospital district talked to us about doing some more exercise programs, and then we started the Stay Vertical program, which is a whole different story, which I'm not here to talk about, but the important thing for that program is there is still a great need for exercise for older adults, especially if you can find a way that it's word of mouth and they're coming with friends and it's somewhere they feel comfortable with. I haven't found any, maybe 10%. Okay, maybe 10% of the participants will come because they see it in the paper and they say, I want to do this. The vast majority of them are because their doctor said they should come, or their friend thought it was cool, or they know the instructor. In addition to that, let me just make another point that one thing I've learned in the past 10 years in doing this, which I haven't learned in previous nonprofits that I've worked for, is that the real strength of our program, and I've really tried to step away from the development actually and planning of some of these programs, the real strength is the person that leads it. If you can get an employee or a volunteer that's passionate about it, and we all say that all the time, but until you see it, like in everyday living, like it really hits home. Like they're calling if people don't come to class. They're coordinating everything. They're really a part of it. And maybe literally 50% of our program success is directly proportionate to those leaders of those programs, directly. And then when those leaders leave, or there's a tweak in the program, those programs fall off, like without a shadow of a doubt.
Is there statistical data on that, or is that your personal opinion?
Just my own opinion. Yeah. Just and if I ever took a survey or wanted to create some data, I'm sure that would say that our programs did falter when somebody left or moved on.
It makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't have any hard data. So we've tried to do that. In fact, we're going to start a new program, which another teachable point here is that the population is really all over the place when it comes to technology. So some people are very good. Some people are completely against it. I have, who do I have? What board? I think I have a board member that refuses to do email, which is like at this point, at this point is kind of comical, but so they're all over the place. So I've tried 3 or 4 times to have some technology classes or do some kind of workshop. And it's failed every time because I haven't recruited the right person, I haven't outreached it out or advertised, or it wasn't the right program. So now we have somebody that's passionate about it and that's only doing it because she wants the class for herself, and she's been able to recruit somebody to do it, and this person's equally passionate. So I'm interested to see where this goes because it hasn't started yet. It's going to start next month. So I'm interested how that goes. So anyway, back to the history of Senior Center. So Stay Vertical has become successful and still is going fine, and we're doing it still at the Senior Center and still with other classes. And I guess that leads us up to today where everything, I don't know if that's somebody that's trying to get it out.
I don't think so. I think they're just looking for a door.
I think the major successes for us have been the slow growth of what we've done with exercise and with my favorite part of the organization, which is our food pantry. We've slowly grown in giving out food. Still not enough. We're still looking for ways to collaborate. We have one of the cool things to see after working in HIV and AIDS and smoking cessation and violence prevention, after working with them, it's been nice to see in the past 20 years how motivated people are to fund kid programs, not education as much, but like child abuse stuff, or they're very interested in kid stuff, older adult stuff, and what was the other thing? I can't remember what the other thing, but it's very interesting to see people wanting to donate to those types of programs. One of the other program is food, is hunger, and people really are motivated by that. So I have funds that come in every month that are earmarked only for food. I can only use for food. So I had to, you create your own line item or your own account in separate from everything else. So I have money to buy food. I just don't have enough ways to connect with people up and down the hill on Highway 4 to provide those foods. I just sent an email to some of the schools along Highway 4 on how we can get this working more. So if you have any ideas of that, I'm all ears. We're going to do some. We're going to do a couple days next month at the Diggins, just handing out free food. We handed out like 60 bags for Christmas of people that don't come to the food pantry. And I think what that does is just say, hey, we're here. This is what the food looks like. And again, in that population, they might not be receptive to getting a handout, but they will think that this is what I can give to my friend. This is what I can give to the lady down the street, or I could share it down the street. So I think we've been successful in doing that. The thing that's been horrible, and the thing that keeps me up every night is that, and you guys know this, we've been unable, and I haven't read any articles that teach me how to get to the people that need us the most, how to get to the isolated people that I'm supposed to be serving, that's why I'm here. Like it's all the same motivated, interested people who were motivated and interested in high school. All those girls and some guys that were like on student council and that were rah-rah and that were working at McDonald's and really busy and doing all that stuff in high school, I think they're the same people that are involved in my activities at 80. They seem to be. So what about the people that weren't involved in high school? What about the people that aren't very social? What about the people that don't want to exercise or don't, like, how do I get to them? So my theory is, and the only thing that I have, did you say something, Mary?
Word of mouth.
Exactly. The only thing that I have is creating relationships. The only thing that we do is that we repeat and remind ourselves that we have to be out there. Well, what do we do? You know, this lady, I know that she has issues and she doesn't come out of the house. Steve, what should I do? Just be there. Just knock on the door once in a while. Just say, I'm here. You need anything? And then hopefully in a couple of years, we can get a bag of food in, and then maybe that'll lead some. So anyway, but that's a real struggle, and I don't know if you guys see the same stuff, but it's really, you know, there's been a lot of technological innovations. I wish there'd be an innovation on how to outreach people that don't want to be outreach, like that don't even realize they need help.
That's where I was gonna say, there's
Yeah.
people out there that don't realize that their lives could be better.
Right.
They're just muddling along, and they're not all that happy, but they're not all that unhappy, and they just don't realize that if they just make one small change in their life, they could go be happy,
Yeah.
you know, or happier.
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically it. Been very lucky with the thrift store, of course, and we have 4 employees at the senior center. We have 12 at the thrift store. Probably another 10 or 15 volunteers. Got another 10 or 15 volunteers that do the yearly stuff like rides, or they'll do other stuff, or they'll help out monthly or stuff like that. Got another 5 board members. So it's a small group.
That's big for Murphy's and the Highway Court corridor.
It is. I do have to remind myself that it is a small community, and anything we do is kind of cool. Open 5 days a week now, which I'm super proud of, and able to pay that rent and all the utilities and the salaries that come with that.
And then you've got a food pantry there as well.
Food
right?
pantries open every day from 9 to 3.
So where do
That's
you
amazing.
get your funding from then to be able to do all that?
The thrift store. Yeah, yeah. The thrift store's been huge for us. Which, if you don't go to thrift stores, there's not only a whole culture to it, but there is this other thing, which Marita Calloway always used to talk about. Before CVS was here in Angels Camp, she would say, where the heck are you gonna go in Calaveras County to just buy a sheet for your bed? You can't do it. Well, there's that piece too. Like a lot of the stuff that we have, you can't get anywhere else. So it's been really great. And again, luckily, we have this person, 3 people that are obsessed about cleanliness. So it looks a lot different than any other thrift store that I've been. So anyway, I brought some calendars, and I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Well, I just hear your passion for using volunteers, and at Sierra Hope, I'm always wanting to get more volunteer programs, and our director just is kind of like, because it takes work to manage volunteers. And you employ them, which is great. A lot of them are employed too. So, just that enthusiasm is good, but I think it's a really great skill set that you could share with some other people who, running volunteer programs is, or having people who are just like part-time small job employees. Because I think for like clients, that can be medicine for them, to have that little job or that employment or that volunteer job. And they may not be the person who goes out looking for a volunteer position, but if somebody asks them, they'll say yes. It's a skill set I'd love you to share more. Yeah.
I think for me it comes down to the culture of the thrift store and what they see there. I think the majority of people, and again, it's creating relationships, right? It's being able to, what was the term we used to use in leadership? Identifying your core values and sharing them and connecting with people through your values. The person that runs the thrift store is a super hard worker and very, lenient's the wrong word, but very cool, like very laid back. Not in a way that if you come in late, she's not going to get on you, but she doesn't micromanage. She doesn't get on you about the little stuff. So she draws people in, and it starts with people that volunteer, and that some of them like the $5 coupon they get per month, and some of them just like being friends with other people that they work with. We've gotten our last 3 employees through our volunteers. They've been volunteers. And then the other thing which we have, which you may not have, is the, which sometimes kicks us in the face, the Murphy's Diggins is a huge social network, and sometimes very gossipy. Most of the time, very gossipy. I knew it was gossipy when I went into work one morning and somebody said, "Good luck on your brain surgery next week." I said, "All right, what? Is it because I can't remember stuff? Like, what is the brain surgery for?" And then you're always just like, okay, because after like three or four times, you're hearing like different rumors about different people. Then you're like, all right, where did you hear this from? What's her name? What's her phone number? You call her up, and then you're like, where did you hear? And then it's just, oh, I don't know. I don't know where it came from. Somebody was talking. So anyway, it gets gossipy sometimes. But the other thing is they all talk all the time, right? To your benefit. And they all talk all the time, and your reputation is so huge in my population, in older adults, because they like to sit around and talk, and that's a part of their social network. So she has a great reputation, and the place is clean, and a lot of women do not like being around dust and being around a place that's dirty, and they really like being there, and it's a cool atmosphere. And they like being part of something that's bigger than themselves. And yeah, it gives them a purpose too. And they can make money. So it really hits a lot of buttons for them. So I guess you got to figure out a way to get your, to manage that gossip, or like manage that conversation around it.
Use it.
Yeah.
You want to reach the people that are unreachable. Develop it. Communication is private
Yeah.
and whispered. Free firewood.
Yeah.
In this county,
Oh,
big.
that's
big.
huge.
Yeah.
Always looking for the firewood.
Yeah.
Fire food is cool, but firewood,
There used to be a
hard to me, but you know.
There's Arnold Angels.
Yeah, the church.
They're still going.
But a lot of times they only do it in their area. If you get somebody down like in Copper who needs firewood, or
Oh, yeah.
Valley Springs who
Regional.
needs firewood. Yeah,
Arnold has more trees than Concord.
yes.
What are the do-wooders rules? Do they just do Arnold? The do-wooders?
Is that the same as the Angels?
There was a.
The Arnold group.
Wood Elks before too, I think that was Mountain Ranch, and they were just like most of their areas. So.
Usually it's close to your area.
Yeah.
If you need firewood up in Arnold, we always call the do-wooders. They're out of that church.
Chapel of the Pine.
Yes, Chapel of Pines, that's it. Yes.
I have a question. What's the difference with the Murphy's Senior Center lunches or food? Do you guys have lunches there, like Meals on Wheels? Or is that, I realize that's a separate entity, a whole separate agency, right? But you do have lunch there, like you said. the
Yeah.
foods.
Yeah, so part of the Older Adults Act provides food, and as I know it, there's two programs, Meals on Wheels and congregate funding. And it's the same thing, but only one is home delivery and one is this congregate funding. The congregate program, and I'll try not to speak out of turn here, but the congregate program has been really difficult to do. And I'm assuming that it's like this in every small county in the country, because it's so expensive and there's so many requirements in handling food and limitations that nobody really wants to do it. Common Ground did it for years, and like I think they were doing it at like a loss. Like it's that difficult. Now the hospital does it. So we do the congregate meal through Area 12. So Area 12 has the money. They contract with the hospital. So the hospital makes our meals, and the hospital does it in Murphy's, and then they also do it in, I believe they're still doing it at that big church in Burson, once a week. And it has to be congregate. You know, very, very silly rules. I mean, like you can't take anything out. You have to eat it there. You have to sit
You
down.
have to eat it there?
You have to eat it there.
Well, what about a senior center here in San Andreas? You can pick up during the pandemic.
Yeah, it's
The pandemic, I don't know if they still do that.
They do.
They have their own kitchen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
serve
do,
their
they
own
cook
food,
there.
and
Maybe
you
their
pay-
funding
and you
choice is
pay
different.
yeah, completely different.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think they
involved.
get any of the money from what I'm talking about.
Got it.
Yeah, but since you said that, our rules were relaxed during COVID, where we did give take home meals, or else they would have shut down the program. So anyway, that's our lunch. We're doing it every Thursday. Please advertise and tell your clients that it's at noon and it's free, but we have to request a donation. I just tell everybody it's free. But if they want to donate, they can. And it's been great. Yesterday it was barbecued chicken, and it was fantastic. It was a great day. We had 25 or 30 people. The second graders from Michelson came and sang old country songs, and gave everybody a Valentine's, like a little Valentine's card. Yeah, it was fantastic.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, it was great.
What is your split for women and men?
I don't want to talk about that.
What was that?
Oh, no,
ratio.
how many women are coming
Oh,
versus
got it.
men? 'Cause
Okay, got it.
men are sometimes harder to reach.
I'll be generous. 99 out of 100 participants are of one gender. And the thing about it is that I've tried to do stuff, and they don't want to do anything.
Oh, I have an idea for men.
Is it watching football
No,
and
no,
getting
no.
beer?
It's having-
Because that's what they want to do. They
it's
want me to buy
having
beer
a
and watch football.
A woodworking center and welding, maybe even a little metal work, but a woodworking center with things that they could come in and use.
Right.
That's a great idea.
Because a lot of men I've talked to, that would be something they would be interested in. The other is, I've had an idea for an accessible community senior garden that would have raised beds that they could actually,
Mm-hmm.
do. And that might bring out some men.
I used to go visit Avalon a lot and see a lot of male clients, and I would sit there and talk with them and stuff, and I would ask them, if there was anything that you could do, or could still do, what would you like to do? And they would say, go fishing.
Mm.
And I told the gal who ran all the activities over one time, I said, my vision was to put a pond out back and let the men sit out there and put the fishing poles in the pond and maybe stock with some fish or something,
Yeah.
and because they could just sit there, even in their wheelchair, and
Yeah.
throw a line in.
That's a great idea.
And have television over there.
Yeah.
Off football.
To do
And
it,
non-alcoholic
sitting
beer.
there in their wheelchairs,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Agreed.
yeah.
That's my idea for a fundraiser is a relaxathon and get different massage therapists and this and that to come in, and people could get massages, there could be yoga teachers and Tai Chi and Qigong, but there would be this corner with a big couch and a football on and then as part of it, because some of us get fundraiser fatigue, is you would donate and say you were gonna not do anything for a certain period of time and
Ah.
donate, and that would be your
Oh,
ticket to
that's
the
right.
race. Because for people who are just over.
Yeah.
Nails,
Yeah,
haircuts.
so if you're
Yeah.
relaxathon.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I gotta do something for the men.
The
I th-
blackjack night is always a hit.
Yeah,
Our
blackjack.
seniors, I mean, they love it.
On poker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they seem to be more motivated by the group mentality, like who's coming, and if it's like an event type of thing. Like I feel like if it's like if I were to do like every morning coffee at 8 o'clock, I think that would be more pressure on them than saying, "Hey, in the fall we're going on a fishing trip." You know, it costs $10, you know, something
That's
like that.
true, because Black Bar Inn, Saturday and Sunday, 8 o'clock, you couldn't get a seat at the community table. It wasn't organized by anybody.
Really?
It just was there.
My dad used to go out for coffee all the time with the guys.
Yeah,
Sit and have coffee and.
Right, it's a
he'd go out for couple
self-motivated,
hours or whatever.
self-fulfilling.
We still have a little group that meets at the patio restaurant. on
Really?
weekends, yeah. Kathy Campbell, Geisler Campbell, and
Wow.
Doug Mugany, and
Oh.
Buzz Eagleton, and
Really? Those
we
guys
just
don't-
sit around and I ended up there because I was teaching Qigong over here, just my own class. And they would all go over afterwards to the patio, and then in the winter, I ended up teaching in the back room of the patio, the Qigong. And, you know, it's just, now I just stop by the patio just to talk and,
And they're still meeting.
yeah,
Wow.
get the round table in the corner.
That's great.
Yeah, we do coffee social pretty much daily. That's one thing the residents look up to. I mean, it's what they go to every single morning. Meet
Wow.
and chit chat, watch some old movies, and drink their coffee or tea.
That's awesome. And what you got a residential program?
I'm with Avalon.
Okay.
And it's just down the street.
Uh-huh.
So I'm with the skilled nursing.
Okay.
So I'm Amy with Comfort Keepers, and it's a home care, non-medical home care agency. And it is private pay, mostly private pay. We aren't able to bill medical insurance, of course. Our license is a non-medical license, our particular Comfort Keepers. We are located, our office is in East Sonora. We do cover Tuolumne County, Calaveras, and Amador, part-time Amador. It's hard for us to get out to Groveland too, where they're part-time. We are, you know, we do bill long-term care insurance. Sometimes, people that I do assessments with, I'll go in for, you know, a client assessment and ask them if they have long-term care policy, and 9 times, you know, there's been a high number of, oh yeah, we do have that, you know, so then I kind of jog their memory a little bit and tell them to give them a call and see what they cover, and we do bill the long-term care policy for them, then it's reimbursed to the client. So we do take the money up front, private pay, but we will do that as a courtesy for them. We are contracted with the VA and other partnerships in the counties, but we do get authorized hours through the VA when it's a veteran, and so usually, you know, anywhere from 6 to 16 hours a week. So that's working out well. And we are bringing on a new business within the business, so a franchise within, but it's called True Blue, and it is a housing maintenance. I'm learning myself. I'm still learning, but we will have contractors you know, I'll do the assessment and I'll decide if it's more for caregiving or if it's going to be for home maintenance. We will decide then, like sheetrock, if there's holes in the walls, things like that. We'll be able to handle those home maintenance projects. So that's a definite need in the counties we feel, but more to come on that. And I'll have brochures from True Blue.
All right.
Yeah.
My name's Sarah. I'm the admissions coordinator for Avalon San Andreas, just down the road for skilled nursing. We offer PT/OT for seniors after falls or if they just feel a little weak. Right now there are a couple really good things that we have going on because of COVID. Surprisingly, we are still able to admit people without a hospital visit. So before COVID, they had to actually have a 3-day stay in the hospital before Medicare would say, yeah, you can go to a skilled nursing. COVID made people want to keep them out of the hospitals, so instead that's completely waived. The 60-day wellness is also waived, where if you go to the skilled nursing and you leave, say you're good, and then you have to wait 60 days until you can get your Medicare days back. That's no longer in effect either. It's been waived, so as soon as they can get back into a skilled nursing, their days are reset. It's very helpful to keep the people out of the hospitals and keep them healthy. Right now, we are in the process of undergoing some changes, so you'll have to bear with us, but we are trying to keep everything the same, or at least very similar. So, I mean, if you guys know anybody who needs just a little strengthening, we have daily activities, we have physical therapists and things of that nature.
Thank
How,
you.
how full are you now?
We're at about 2/3 capacity. So we're working on opening up for more long-term patients. That's been a real struggle right now because that does not move often enough for some of these people. The hospitals have been a little hard to work with on getting people in right now for long-term care. It's hard, especially with the changes that happened with Medi-Cal earlier this year.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone being managed Medi-Cal is a change for all of us, and it's something we're ironing out still.
I'm Linda Mellon. I'm with the Senior Peer Program for Calaveras County. So we recruit volunteers in the community to go out and visit seniors who are maybe lonely, isolated, depressed, anxious, can't get out of the house. We go to their homes and we provide at least an hour a week, if not more. And then we have a 2-hour supervision meeting every other month for our volunteers to keep them up to date. We are a referral source, so if we go out and find clients don't have food or are struggling with transportation, need in-home care, we refer them to, the agencies, here that this is a good place to come because you get to know what's going on with everybody. I go out and do speaking engagements. I've gone to the Murphy Senior Center before and talked, and I actually made a really good connection from that for a lady. She came up to me afterward and she goes, I have Parkinson's disease and I'd really like to talk to somebody who has Parkinson's. And I had just started, working in this capacity. I'm like, okay, well, let me go check. So I went back to the office and I found out we had a Parkinson's support group. So I called her up and I said, well, they meet here in this room at the library once a month. And she's like, but I don't drive. And I said, okay. So I said, I'll come and pick you up. So I came and picked her up, brought her down to the support group, got her settled down, went and visited another client while she was in the support group, came back to pick her up, and she met somebody here who lived up in Murphy's who could give her a ride to the meetings.
Oh, wow.
So that was like just awesome. That kind of connection is just, you can't get any better than that. So anyway, I have brochures, business cards, pins, magnets, if you want to pass those around. And we're always, there is no, our services are free. There is no insurance requirements, no income requirements. The only thing is the person has to want the service. We get referrals from doctors, from family members, from community members, sometimes from the person themselves. They'll call up and say, I just need somebody to talk to or whatever. And so we go out, like I said, weekly, and we go to their home. If they don't feel comfortable, one man wouldn't even let me come to his home. He was too embarrassed, so we met in the park. Sometimes I have a lady that her son lives with her, and they have some issues, but she didn't want to talk in front of her son, so I met her at Starbucks, and we would go to Starbucks and talk. So it's where we meet the person wherever they're at, and especially if they can't get out. And to see a person's face light up when you walk into the room, because you may be the only person they see all week long, is priceless.
Are you having any volunteer trainings coming up?
We are in the process right now. We have, actually, Marion's gonna be one of our volunteers, and we actually have 3 of them who we're training right now.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. And it's, as long as if we keep getting more volunteers, we'll have more training.
Okay, so it's not like a set schedule where you just do it once a year?
No, because we never know, and, if we got somebody, like, say, next month, and then it's like, oh, well, we're not doing one for 6 months, that's pointless. So as long as, and we'll do it for one person if that's all we have, but we prefer to do it for a group. It's a lot better. A lot of information we cover and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever go into like the nursing homes?
Oh,
or-
yeah, I have clients still still in the nursing home, I just haven't gone as much because of COVID. The time I got COVID, I had gone in there and found out afterward the whole wing had it just
Oh,
about, nobody
no.
told me, so I was like, okay, I'm not going quite as often, but, yeah, I have people from the very beginning that I saw who were in Avalon, and I still contact them.
All right, I'll have to reach out to you.
Yes. I asked one time, years ago, somebody else was in charge, I'd asked for a list of people in Avalon who had nobody who comes and sees them, and, I never got it.
I can think of a few off the top of my head, so.
I would love that, because
Absolutely.
I've been in Avalon so much, and I see so many people who are just laying there in bed, and there's nobody who talks to them.
We're
and-
struggling for volunteers since COVID, it's
Yeah.
been hard.
Yeah, so, yeah, if I could get a list of people, I would love that, yes. Thank you. It's in the bag coming back.
I'm Bonnie Norby. I'm the nurse case manager at Sierra Hope for the HIV care program. And I spoke last month, so if you ever want details, it's on YouTube. And so we serve Amador, Calaveras, and Tuolumne, and then the Office of AIDS asked us to cover Alpine, Mono, and Inyo.
Yeah,
And
right, in the afternoon.
well, luckily, we don't have a lot of clients up there, and one of our nurses who used to work there, she's familiar with the area, Debbie Brooks.
Debbie.
Yeah, so she may go up, and we've been doing some telehealth, which, in the winter. So, yeah, she's probably gonna do a round in the summer. So, we also have a food pantry at Sierra Hope. Let's see, for our HIV people, we can get them wood. So, and like I said last month, we have an aging HIV population. And they get it in various ways. I mean, we have people, it's not just men who have sex with men, but we have people who've gotten it through blood transfusions, or maybe they had a partner who injected drugs. We have both women and men. So people have old ideas about, who has HIV. I'd like to start getting more into PrEP and getting to some of the younger people, but that takes a lot of work, and
Is there still money? Are you guys still?
oh, yeah.
You still
yeah,
have
we
the
get-
education and?
Yeah, we get money from the Office of AIDS. We still, I do ADAP enrollment. We do ADAP enrollment, and we have HOPWA, which is housing opportunities for persons with AIDS. So I can help people, get into housing, or if they have, if they have, some bills and stuff where they can't pay their rent or their mortgage or their utility bills, I can help pay for that for 147 days. So, yeah, I think it's one of the most progressive programs, the Ryan White program, for communicable disease that we have. And now statewide, they're really working with the PrEP and trying to get out to the young people. And we've had a couple of young people get AIDS, and but the vast majority are people over 50 and special needs with that. The biggest issue is transportation. If somebody does not have a car or their car breaks down, a lot of times they're very stuck, especially in the rural areas, really, who are out there. So we also have a transitional living house, and that's for adults who have kids, and there's a special waiting group for that. But we do have one grandmother with a child that they're a caretaker for. So I remember from, there was a pretty active grandparents group around here, that there's so many people doing childcare or who have custody. so that transitional living house, and we also were doing Operation Room Key, another group of people at work, Operation Room Key during COVID, and then trying to find people housing, and that's just a huge problem, cause there just isn't any. But they do work with them, people do eventually, they can find it. People with pets, have harder time finding places. So one of my visions is to have like a canine good citizen, low cost or free class or sliding scale. So people who have dogs that could get that certification, that could maybe have an easier time renting. And I
That's a
think
good idea.
training dogs is very therapeutic, and people learn from it. And people love their dogs. If you wanna in with people, if you see somebody with a dog and you have your dog.
Gotta meet people, you know?
Well, the animals become like their children,
Oh,
or
yeah.
their family, and I have clients that tell me they wouldn't even get up in the morning if it wasn't for their animal. I mean, it gives them a purpose, and that's one of the things I found with, is people need a purpose and, a reason to keep going. I have people in their 60s and 70s who think life is over. I have people in their 80s and 90s who are still,
Right.
going and moving and stuff, but, I had a lady that was living with her family, and they were having issues and stuff, and I said, well, and she was used to renting a household, now she's living with her son's family and stuff, and she had nothing to do, and I said, well, does she have a specific job she has to do? And no, well, give her a job, this is your job to do each day, she needs a purpose, she needs a reason to get up and do something.
All right.
Well, great note. I'm Marion Coran, and I'm here because I need a purpose. I'm 81 years old. I'm supposed to be close to dying, and I'm not ready yet. So I have decided that I have a new challenge. I know Steve from Public Health in Amador County. We worked together years ago. And I'm retired, he's still working, so he has more stimulation than I do.
That was 1998, by the way,
It
just so you know.
was. You were thinking about that. Anyway, I'm here because I want to learn what's going on in Calaveras County. And Comfort Keepers is what I'm really interested in, because my goal, this sounds very egotistical, but there's a big problem for people who want to age at home and die at home. And it's very difficult to do that. And you can't afford to have somebody come in to Comfort Keepers, and you just need help with a bath. Maybe a bath twice a week would be nice, because I can't really do it myself. That'll cost, how much would it cost to get a home health aide in to help me
For
with
an
my-
hour?
Pardon?
For an hour?
Yeah, but it's a minimum of 2 hours, right?
Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
most locations, we do offer an hour, and that is $50.
And it's $50, so it's $50 for a shower. Now, I might be able to afford that, but my principle would be, I'm not paying $50 for a shower, you gotta be kidding. I might have $2 million in the bank, I'm not paying $50 for a shower. You guys can understand that, as well as most of us don't have that money.
Right.
So, I think that is a hole in the state of California, and probably throughout the United States, of unserved need. So all I'm doing is, since I have nothing else better to do besides bug people, is to find out what the problem is in our little county, and then get on the senior legislative council to Area 12. I'm gonna be on their board, because I don't think they can kick me off. Anyway, I'm climbing the vine of structures of what's out there. And since I know I don't know, that I need to, this is my educational year. And say hi to Debbie for me, because we go back in public health 30 years. So I know systems, and that's my advantage. I worked with maternal child health, CD and all those things, but not seniors, never did seniors, not a
Um,
senior, so.
I just had a call from Cecily over at Public Health. They were gonna interview me about senior. Did they call you? Oh my God, they need to call you. I said, come over to this meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Cause when I worked for Public Health, I was the chair for a while and with Robin, and then we
Right.
shared it, and, you know,
What are they doing?
huh?
What are they doing? What did she
They're,
call for?
they're doing one of the, they're doing interviews, and it's like gonna take an hour. It's probably one of those public health things that they get a certain amount. And they're doing a review of what the senior needs are.
Oh, okay.
So I said, you know, but they have to do it in this interview format of an hour, and I said, I sent her the flyer. She couldn't come this month, but maybe she'll come, cause I'd like to know what they're doing. It's probably one of their, where they have to do a report. And you have to follow what the state says you do, which is one of the nice things of being a nonprofit.
Exactly.
All right, who's up next?
My name is Mary, and this is Patricia. We're from California Connect. For those of you who don't know us or have heard about the program, we are funded and mandated by the state of California. We're overseen by the CPUC, and our goal is to provide accessible telecommunication equipment to those in the state who may have a moderate, mild, or severe, permanent, or temporary disability. So anything that makes it hard for the person to use a telephone, we offer different pieces of equipment that can assist with either hearing, vision, mobility, memory, speech. Although we primarily offer telephones, we also have various accessories that are Bluetooth enabled as well that can assist with speech. We have a lot of speech devices for those who don't have a voice anymore. We have larynx, we have speech amplifiers, we have dialing by voice options as well. This is all free through the state. We have no age or income requirements. It's very simple to apply. This is probably the easiest state program that you can ever apply for. The requirements are only to live in California, have a home phone or a cell phone service, and one of our applications would need to be signed by a medical provider. So this could be a nurse practitioner, an audiologist, an optometrist, someone like that, and get it back to us and we can provide the equipment. We don't service a specific county, we're state, so we offer this program to anyone in the state. So no matter where you live, the services are available to you. My personal, my goal at work is specifically to assist those at home. So if someone has a difficulty, cannot get to our offices, we come out, schedule appointments. So I've been in this area multiple times, although outreach is part of my job. So that consists of presentations, gatherings like today, health fairs. I attended the Mark Twain Health Fair this last year, and we actually were able to come out and present to 8 of their different medical groups out there. So that's what we're doing now, and it's very important for us to be able to provide these presentations for their health professionals, because they are the ones who are ultimately signing those applications. So for us, it's very important for them to know about it so they can refer their patients to us when it's appropriate. We also offer smartphone trainings. I've heard some interest in that. We're actually,
What?
yes.
Smartphone trainings?
We offer smartphone
No
trainings
way.
to those in the state. We're actually currently partnering with the Calaveras Senior Center and the Manzanita Writers Press. We have 2 trainings. We have one specifically for Android, one for iPhone. They're 2-hour trainings, very helpful. We give guides at the end of the training that are very simple and easy to look through with pictures and everything. Some of our other resources are also the California Lifeline program and the ACP program, which offer the free discounted service on landlines or free cell phones, and also a discount on internet or internet bills, especially for those who live on native grounds. I know that they have even more of a discount. There's also the, yes.
I don't understand what that program is. ACP, people are getting free phone?
So there's two programs there. There's the California Lifeline program, which is also under the California Connect umbrella. That's part of our program. So the California Lifeline offers the discounted service on landlines and offer free cell phones as well. to anyone in the state.
Who qualifies?
So that's a good question. I have a brochure on that. I know that they do have age and income requirements. Our
Ah.
program does not, but they do. I can give you guys a flyer if you'd like. And then there's also the ACP program that offers the discounted internet service. So they provide a discount on your internet bill. There's also the voice option program that's also under the California Connect program. They offer speech generated devices or specialized tablets with speech apps on there for those who don't have a voice. Also for children who are autistic, these are also free to anyone in the state. So I have brochures on that and can pass those out. I heard many of you here have food pantries, so we also come out and set up booths during the food pantries because like you, we also have the challenge of getting to people who are isolated or who live out here. Our office is in Sacramento, so that's what we're here to do. We're here to do our outreach and, set up at places like that, even with the booth, and provide these resources.
Alright.
Yes, I will pass those out. I don't want to forget.
I'm Jasmine Roots with Hospice of Amador and Calaveras. We are a nonprofit hospice, the only nonprofit hospice between the two counties. And we've been in business for over 40 years. Some updates. Oh, and we've never, in those 40 years, have turned down a patient for their inability to pay. And we do that through our fundraisers. We just had our Valentine's Day fundraiser, which was successful. And then our 2 thrift stores. We also have thrift stores, which are super helpful. One in Angels Camp and one in Jackson. So we also provide, which a lot of people don't know, and I like to not forget about this, grief support, free grief support for children, school-aged children, young adults, and caregivers. Those are free, and they're weekly, and we even have one Zoom meeting as well. And we do need volunteers if anyone's interested or knows somebody that's interested for grief busters, for admin, thrift stores, things like that. We lost a lot of people with COVID as far as volunteers go, and you guys can relate. So.
Are you doing Grief Busters in Calaveras County right now?
Yes.
Do you know? Where is it?
Where are we? It's at the Senior Center.
Here in San Andreas?
Yes.
That's the only place?
As far as, we do school visits for children, so we'll have somebody go, do you mean for adults mainly?
Just for Grief Busters. Isn't that?
Well, we have grief busters for children and adults, and the children will go to their school.
Okay.
So that they're not being pulled out. They'll coordinate with school, and depending on where they are, we'll go to Copper, we'll go to Murphy's, Angels. But as far as the group setting, yes,
And what is that, once a month?
once a week.
Once a week.
And I can send out, maybe just as the group email, all that information, times,
Oh,
days.
please do, if you send it to me, I'll go ahead and,
Yeah.
I'll spread the word.
Absolutely.
Now, are you guys doing palliative care as well, or just hospice care?
Just hospice.
Okay.
Yes, and we have residents, or patients, I should say, in residential Avalon, and at home.
Sure.
And we go as far as, we'll go to Arnold, we'll go down to Copper, we'll go anywhere in the 2 counties. Yeah. And even Rancho, Marietta a little bit, just kind of on that cusp, because Sacramento it's too far for some Sacramento hospices, so, yeah, we cover a large area.
Great. Well, I'm Susan Tomasich, and I am in the process of getting my Senior Moments podcast up and running. I've got 3 episodes, which I haven't loaded yet. Amy was kind enough to come on one day. So we've talked to her, and I'll probably be tapping all of you in the future. I had a really interesting discussion with Megan from the Amador Arts Council, and the thing that I was so fascinated with is that in my work with seniors, I've always had it drummed into my head, socialization and exercise, socialization and exercise. But what I hadn't ever considered was creative things like art, or if it's cooking or gardening or whatever thing you might do that is creative is helping also strengthen the pathways in your brain. It's connecting your right and left brain and making them work better together. And the really interesting thing is that it doesn't matter what creative thing you try to do. It doesn't matter if you're successful at the you have a beautiful thing that you end up, a beautiful meal or a beautiful garden at the end. It's the process that actually starts triggering all the changes in the brain. And it's the process that will start triggering more positive emotions, that will help instill hope. And one of the things that I thought is most beneficial is if you have a person that's no longer verbal, but you know they're unhappy, you can tell they're either frightened or unhappy or lonely. The art process or the creativity process, no matter what you put in front of them, if you can get them to participate in it, it's going to still have the same brain changes as it would in somebody that doesn't have dementia. So it's a way, I think, to help people who can't be verbal anymore express their feelings, and also gives a way to help the person have a more positive outlook, whatever that might look like to them, without the use of drugs, for example. So that, really excited about getting that podcast up, and of course Amy was amazing. And I also, the first podcast talks about women and finances, so what happens when a spouse dies. So those will be up by next month, and by next month I will have a nice little card for you that shows where you can find them and what's available.